Hello. This week, I wanted to talk about a theme that's very broad and very common, and that is over carrying. So, overholding, carry others. And I see it in my clients, and I've certainly done this work myself, still doing it. It feels like a lifelong theme. And as I see it, it can happen, this over carrying can happen on three levels. It can happen on a very physical level, where we kind of other maybe financial provider, we loan people money. It can be that we overdo, we overactivate, we overgive in all kinds of manners, in maybe food, it may be, handiwork and practical matters that we help people with. So all kinds of overextending in a way. And then there is the emotional energetic level where we are typically then the family therapist, we are the friends therapist, their lifeline. It can be in a workspace where we are the peacekeeper or the person keeping everyone happy, joyous or inspired. And of course, all of this is also, of course, playing out in the family context. And it can also be then in the wellness arena where we start to hold space, which is a difficult concept. What is to hold and how much should we hold? Maybe not at all. So that is also a journey of where these patterns can manifest. And then we have the spiritual level, which is more about saving the world kind of complex, where we kind of overextend to this like universal context almost. So all these different levels, and so this is not about, just also clarification, this is not about us not helping each other, supporting each other through challenging times. Of course, we should. So this is when we are not doing that from a natural place. And that is why I think this is coming up a lot right now because of these Aquarian times that we are in. We have Pluto in Aquarius, we have Uranus in Gemini, moving from Taurus, and there's just this focus on us getting to find our own truth, to operate from this place of truth and authenticity. And from that place, I think it's very likely that we will find more joy and a greater anchoring into this, anchoring into meaning from this place, that it feels meaningful, it feels joyful. And that is also this whole constellation of Pluto and Aquarius, Neptune in Gemini, and Neptune in Aries, which is this kind of anchoring meaning. And also Uranus and Gemini. They are working together until 2029, which is very beautiful. So this is kind of a focus right now to not operate from these old kind of patterns that we might have learned to, like, I get confirmation when I do this, I get kind of likes when I help others, and then we can have a tendency to overextend that. So symptoms of us not maybe operating from that natural truth is when we get very drained, we get depleted in different situations. It often is because this is usually very unconscious. So when we kind of reach out and hold this person, or it doesn't feel like we're doing it from the wrong place. It's just afterwards that we can kind of catch us, that we are drained, we are depleted. Or what often happens is that there's, even though we're not aware of it in the moment, there's expectations attached to this. So somewhere underneath, we kind of expect something back, or we expect a specific outcome due to our kind of investment in this situation. And when that doesn't happen, we don't get back what we expected. we get disappointed and lose kind of energy. And might also feel victimized. That's like we sacrificed something and we didn't get the return that we are worthy and so on. So that is typically symptoms of not operating from that truth, from that joy. Because when we do that, we kind of get rewarded in the moment because it is like inspiring. It gives us energy. It fills us with meaning because that's kind of where we're supposed to operate from. So that is, and then of course it is this journey from maybe one extreme to another, and we might get drained sometimes, and that's fine. But I think that's really good indicators that we're on the right way. And also other symptoms that we are kind of doing this from a bit of the wrong place is we get confused because we are so much into someone else's energy that we get lost in a way. So really to kind of take that energy back and find the peace within, find kind of where we are, and then also allowing the other person their journey. Because I think that was the best saying I received when I started to understand this pattern, to really not like steal anyone else's lesson. Because what we do when we overextend into someone else's field is that we might delay their own journey because we kind of need to go through these different stages. We might need to go through some suffering, and then allow that person to do that without kind of pushing in a lot of energy so they don't have to experience this or that. That might prolong their journey. So that is to me a very good incentives to kind of keep track on. Being supportive is another thing, but overextending is what really doesn't help us and really doesn't help the other person. So that is, I think it was Carolyn Myss who said, do you have a mature enough heart to allow the person, like the loved person, to suffer because that is their highest and best way, something like that. And I think that is what it's about, that sometimes kind of need to suffer to go to that place where we find the shift. And I have experienced that a couple of times in my personal life where I have found a way to step back and where I've actually seen the person finally do that shift, finally go to that through that change. And that is very humbling and very good lessons, I feel. So when we feel these symptoms, then when we clear of this pattern, that like there might be something here. The usual then approach is to become first of all, I think create that space, and we do that through this consistency in practice to create a space within to become more conscious and aware, and that's kind of when we catch this movement, and then become curious. And that is kind of a key in this work, to not be judging, to become curious. We're here to learn. We're here to kind of figure things out. And there's a point too that we have these patterns. So get curious of, what am I afraid of if I'm not holding this person? Why am I holding on so hard? Because usually to me, if we are a bit aware of our energy, that is a really good symptom when we kind of, it's almost like a physical overholding. You want something to happen to that person so much. But it's like, let go, detach. And so what am I afraid of if I let go? That is a good question to ask and start to reflect on and contemplate on. When did this pattern start? And to me, as an example, I found a diary that I wrote in when I was 7, 8 years old. And my grandmother just had got cancer. And I wrote in this book, like, I wonder if it's my fault that my grandmother has cancer. And to me, it was a shock to read that because I had no idea that my emotional world was like that when I was 7 or 8 years old. And also a realization because I couldn't really connect it to anything that my parents said or did. So to me, even though I have enforced this pattern all through my life, until I got conscious of it. Um, I do believe that it also comes from past lives because it's not really like irrational. I can feel or see that had anything to do with my upbringing. So that also I got kind of information doing past life work or parallel world life and seeing these kind of tendencies. Get curious of what are kind of the root causes to this, and then meditate, do breath work. I do believe in working on these three levels with like the spiritual belief system, perspectives on life, and then work on the soul level, the emotional and energetics, where we have these patterns and blockages, and then work on the physical level, like in everyday life. So on this, making the unconscious conscious, we do have the help of Pluto and Uranus right now, which I think we will go through this time. There's going to be a lot of leakage, positively so, from the unconscious to the conscious. It's like starting to see things, getting new perspectives. And also, if you feel like this is something that's like I need to kind of get a hold of, I can't really do it on my own. There's hypnosis, which I think is a brilliant, brilliant tool for moving in the spiritual kind of unconscious, conscious, subconscious levels. And then, of course, the emotional layers, the energetic layers to move energy. And when we kind of get aware of something, we set an intention, things start to move, both outside of ourselves, like we project and get these experiences, and inside. So clearing the energy in all kinds of like my go-to tool there is breath work. But also just allowing the feelings to move through you. And then we have, of course, the everyday practices. So if we can't catch it in the moment, sit down with this situation afterwards and, like, again, reflect on it, journal on it, and see if you can maybe put out some boundaries for yourself, like what you're going to do next time this happens, or what you're not going to do next time this happens. So you can kind of get a more shift in the moment in terms of the shifting your behavior in real life. So to work on all these three levels is, I do believe, a really beautiful thing. And life usually then shows us the way through these patternings, through these beliefs, and help us to become more aligned to our true vibration, to our truth. And again, the best indicator to know that you're on track with this, that you're in your natural flow, is, I do believe, the feeling of joy, the feeling of ease, like the feeling of just being naturally you. And also that it doesn't really matter if you have likes or dislikes or confirmation, that this feels like the true, honest, good thing, joyous thing for you to do. I think that's a good kind of indicator that this is like in a natural flow, that this is in alignment. So that is what I wanted to share this week. As always, I have one-on-one sessions, standalone sessions, if you want to kind of try out. I do work with the hypnosis, the breath work that I talked about, intuitive guidance. I do weave in astrology in all of this. I have longer journeys, 1 month journeys, and 3 month journeys, and that's what I mainly work with. I also have online gatherings monthly if you want to try out, usually with breath work, sometimes with guided meditations. I do have guided meditations alignments in my shop just to try out if you kind of resonate with my energy and vibration. So I'll put all that information down below. And thank you for listening. Bye bye.